Take a ride on the Lakeshore Limited, a great set bought for under $50. Set information, repair, and maintenance tips, and eBay strategies on this episode of Toy Train Tips and Tricks. Hello again, this is Mike from Toy Train Tips and Tricks, and this is the Lionel number 6-1663 Lakeshore Limited set from 1976 and 77. Before we get into how I managed to acquire this set from eBay for under $50, yes, I got the whole set for less than what the diesel alone normally sells for, let's talk about what we have here. The set features 4 small streamlined passenger cars, 2 Pullmans, 6404 and 6405, a dome car, 6403, and an observation, 6406. And along with an uncatalogued Bicentennial set produced for the Train Collectors Association in 1976, this was Lionel MPC's first time producing these cars that were last made by the original Lionel Corporation in 1966. Each car features interior illumination and operating couplers. I made a slight modification to some of my couplers to help cars run better, which I'll discuss later in this video. Powering the train is a typical ALCO FA diesel, number 8664, with a single Pullmor-type universal motor, a headlight, 2-position reverse, and traction tires on a sheet metal frame. While definitely not as nice as Lionel's original 1950 Anniversary Set FAs, this unit is comparable to late 1960s Lionel production. A matching 8667 dummy B unit was available for separate sale. 3 additional passenger cars were also available separately in 1977. Numbers 6410 and 11, Pullmans, and the number 6412 Vista dome car. All of the items are under scale, roughly 1/55th or so for the diesel and around 1/64th scale for the cars, and they operate with no issues on 027 or larger track. Although missing the box, this set is in surprisingly good condition, nearly perfect in fact, with the exception of one minor repair that I will discuss later. The set is decorated in Amtrak's original livery, featuring the so-called bloody nose on the diesel and the pointless arrow Amtrak logo. This was Lionel's first use of the Amtrak name in a passenger set, although an Amtrak F3 diesel AA pair had come earlier in 1974. From a marketing standpoint, an Amtrak set was an obvious choice in 1976. The red, white, and blue decoration evoked thoughts of America's Bicentennial celebration that was in full swing in 1976. And rather than appealing to buyers in just a single geographic region like a B&O or Milwaukee Road or Santa Fe set might, Amtrak was known and seen nationwide, and the familiarity created instant appeal. And as Amtrak was now 5 years old, it had overcome most of the growing pains it had experienced in its May 1st, 1971 beginning. The experiment, so to speak, was over, and it appeared that Amtrak would indeed survive. In fact, Amtrak had not only survived, but it was beginning to expand service in some markets. In 1975, Amtrak launched the Lakeshore Limited, a daily New York to Chicago train with a connection to Boston. The train rode over the same former New York Central water level route trackage as the NYC train of the same name that ran until 1958. With stops in New York, Boston, Buffalo, Cleveland, Toledo, and Chicago, among others, the Lakeshore Limited name was also familiar, or should have been anyway, to millions of families in some of America's most densely populated areas. And so it was a natural choice to serve as the namesake for Lionel's starter set. Santa could now bring little Johnny or Susie a train that looked like the ones they saw in their own city. While Amtrak had new Amfleet passenger cars on order, most trains in 1976 still used the stainless steel passenger cars inherited from the member railroads that Amtrak would call its heritage fleet. These cars looked just like the ones in the Lionel set. The underside of the ALCO is typical of Lionel production of the time, a single motor with 4-wheel drive. Here are the pickup rollers, and here are the traction tires. Keep an eye on these gears and make sure that they are properly lubricated. To remove the shell, simply remove this Phillips screw and lift. A tab holds the shell in place on the other end. Under the hood, it's pretty simple. Motor, 2-position reverse unit, and headlight. The most important maintenance here is to make sure the motor armature shaft remains well lubricated. The auction description for my set indicated that the locomotive tended to wiggle on the track. In actual operation, I have noticed no movement beyond what I would normally expect from a typical Lionel ALCO. A win for me. I figured that in the worst case scenario, I do have an additional ALCO powered frame in my junk box that I could have swapped out if there was a serious issue. The passenger cars are all assembled in a similar manner. Remove these 2 Phillips screws to detach the roof of the car. Inside, note the lighting and the window glazing. It's all pretty simple. All of my bulbs work, so I feel no need to replace any of them with LED lighting at this time. The Vista dome card does have a slight warping issue, which was mentioned in the auction description. First, one car side bows inward significantly, making it difficult for the roof to seat properly. To fix this, I simply cut out a section of foam core board to size and I slid it in place in the middle of the car. It sits perfectly between 2 windows and it's unnoticeable from the outside. Second, after years of use with the improper seating because of the side warping, the roof also has developed a significant bow. To correct this, I seated the roof in place properly and wrapped the car with rubber bands to hold it firmly in position. With paper placed under the bands to prevent any marking of the paint, I repeatedly applied heat from a hairdryer, about 5 minutes at a time, and then allowed the car to cool. I repeated this process 15 to 20 times over the course of 3 days. There's still a little bit of a bow, but not nearly as significant as before. In fact, I doubt anyone would notice if I didn't point it out to them. I will probably repeat this process again in the future just to finish off the job. Both the dome car and the observation had couplers that hung too low enough to snag the thumbtacks on turnouts. There is an adjustment screw underneath the coupler, but I found these cars needed a little additional help. To access the adjustment screw, you must first remove the pickup plate for the car lighting. Use a small flat screwdriver to gently pry the truck sides back until you can pop the plate out. Be careful because the plastic fingers on the plate are very fragile. Then you will have to remove this wheel set from the truck and again gently pry back the truck sides until the wheel is free. Once these are removed, you can access the screw. For most cars, simply tightening the screw as much as possible while still allowing lateral movement of the coupler, that should do the trick. These 2 cars, however, needed some additional support, so I added a number 6 washer under the screw. I tightened it completely first, then slowly unscrewed until there was lateral movement in the coupler. The washer would give a little extra support to keep the coupler from sagging, and then simply reassemble everything in reverse order. This set is in excellent condition other than the lack of the original box, track, and transformer. Still, an unboxed set in this condition often sells well north of $100. I know because I've been trying to acquire one of these for years. So how do I manage to land this one for less than $50? Well, in addition to sheer luck, I think a number of factors were at play that might help you find eBay bargains as well. First, it's summertime. This is the time of the year that most hobbyists are called outdoors to work on other projects, lawn work, house maintenance, or simply summer fun and vacation. There are fewer of us working on the railroad, so there are fewer of us bidding for new train items on eBay. Less demand equals lower prices. Second, there happen to be multiple Lakeshore sets for sale in various condition, from sealed in the box to okay, all at the same time. The limited number of bidders were now spread even further between several sets that all ended on the same day. The bidders tended to mainly go all in on the highest quality sets they could afford, and then this one just slipped through the cracks. Lastly, there was that item description. The text about the wobbling engine and the photo of the warped dome car made bidders move on to other sets. I guessed that neither issue was going to be difficult, so I took a chance, and my chance paid off with a bargain. So, am I happy with my purchase? Absolutely. And now my layout has a second 027 Streamliner set to go along with my other bargain set, that Quicksilver Express I purchased at a show last year, also for under $50. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and if so, please let your friends, neighbors, and especially YouTube know with a like, subscription, share, or comment. Stay on the lookout for bargain trains and keep those trains running until next time on Toy Train Tips and Tricks.